Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about 3 different topics, and we are first going to talk about Felipe Coutinho. So according to Mundo Deportivo, they have stated that Bayern CEO named Karl-Heinz has stated that the option to purchase Coutinho for 120 million has expired and will therefore not exercise the clause. He hasn't ruled out renegotiating with Barcelona for the Brazilian due to the circumstances. And so this is what the CEO had to say. He said, "The option has expired and we have not exercised it. We will see if the player can still have a role to play with us or not." So he's basically saying, okay, I'm going to speak with the coach and ask him, okay, is Coutinho still beneficial to this club? Can he provide something that Bayern does not have at the moment? And this is not going to be something that they're going to figure out like tomorrow. This is going to take a couple of weeks, maybe 5 to 6 weeks, and then we will get an answer. But right now, Coutinho is in the air. And look, to be honest, after waiting for so long from an answer from Bayern Munich, we knew this was coming for a very long time. And the reason why we knew so early is because ever since like December or November last year in 2019, Coutinho was simply not working at Bayern Munich. He was not providing the results. Now, if we look at the overall stats of what Coutinho has provided for Bayern Munich, we can see that sometimes the stats can be deceiving. In all competitions, he has been in 32 games, scored 9 goals, and provided 8 assists. And now, from anyone's point of view, this looks like great numbers, very decent numbers for an attacking midfielder, especially since it's his first time at a German club. But I really do want to give you guys some context into these stats because, again, like I said before, these are some very deceiving stats. Coutinho had a game against a German club. I don't know who it is specifically, but he had a game in the German league and he scored 3 goals and provided 2 assists in that one match. And he had an amazing game. I remember on that day, people were saying this is what Barcelona are missing on. They should have never loaned out Felipe Coutinho, but he did score 3 goals and provided 2 assists in one game. That is almost taking half of the stats that he has had in all competitions, because if we take that one game away since he started with Bayern Munich, then that would mean that he would only have 6 goals and 6 assists in all competitions with Bayern Munich, which means that in the summer, Bayern Munich is going to have a conversation with everybody, whoever's in that board, and they're going to say, okay, is the 6 goals and 6 assists enough to justify for us to give in the 120 million to Barcelona? And to be honest, I think that is going to come down to a no. I think Bayern Munich is going to say, look, this is not enough. 6 goals and 6 assists is not enough for a guy who has a lot of experience, and we can find better. So like, Bayern Munich is going to say no because of 2 reasons. And the first one is going to be because Bayern Munich believes that they can find better, like a player like Kai Havertz, who is going on fire lately. And the second reason why I believe Bayern is going to say no is because, like every club in the world right now, everybody is in a bad economic situation, and Bayern Munich does not want to spend 120 million on one player. And look, don't get me wrong, Bayern do have the money. They do have 120 million in store and spend it however they want, but they don't want to spend it on one player, especially since that one player has only provided 6 goals and 6 assists. They would much rather invest that 120 million wisely, which leads me back to the first point, which is to invest that money in a player like Kai Havertz, and maybe actually invest that money to get a better defense, because we have heard reports that Bayern do want to strengthen their defense. And so this 120 million that Bayern have at the moment, they do want to spend it wisely, which means that they will not spend that on Felipe Coutinho. There are more cons than pros when making this decision. And this is where the question comes up for us Barcelona fans, which is, how is Barcelona going to handle Felipe Coutinho's future? And look, we know that Quique Setién wants to have a word with Felipe Coutinho before Coutinho decides to say, okay, I'm going to leave FC Barcelona in the summer. Quique Setién is going to ask Coutinho like, okay, what happened the last time you were here? How were you treated? Do you feel like you were being disrespected? Were you placed in the wrong position? Do you feel like you were treated unfairly under Valverde? And Quique Setién is not going to say, hey Coutinho, I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you for next season. He's not going to say that. He's just going to ask him, what happened when you were here last time you were at FC Barcelona? And we also know that Coutinho's intentions is to leave the club. And so we don't know what's going to happen when he does arrive in the summer. And I want to ask you guys a very important question, right? And many of you guys have been stating solutions on how we can fit Coutinho in FC Barcelona if he does decide to stay for whatever reason. And one of the most popular solutions that I have been hearing all over the media is to have a midfield of De Jong, Arthur, and Felipe Coutinho. That is the midfield that many Barcelona fans want to see if this player does stay at the club. Now look, on paper, that does look amazing. Like having Coutinho, De Jong, and Arthur in that midfield looks like it could do wonders for the club, but tactically, right? I like to speak, how is this going to benefit us tactically? I really don't think that this is the midfield Quique Setien would want to choose if we were going to go up against a team like Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Atletico Madrid, very physical teams. This midfield, which is Coutinho, Arthur De Jong, is not the ideal midfield for us to get a UCL. We would basically get ran through. And that is the first part of the problem. The second part of this problem is Coutinho's wages. And this is the part where I believe Barcelona is going to go down to. They're going to say, look, Coutinho's wages are super high. We cannot afford this. We know at the moment that we can't afford everyone's wages. And we also know that there is a big chance that we can sell this player for at least 75 million euros. And that will be the road Barcelona will go to. Barcelona will see the 80 million euros and say, look, we can use this to greatly help us financially and maybe help us for any operation, whether it's going to be the Martinez operation or the Neymar operation. And so again, I want to ask you guys this question. Do you see Felipe Coutinho staying at this club? And if so, how would you implement Coutinho in that midfield? Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Todibo. According to Ivan San Antonio from Sport, he claimed that Everton have offered 22 million euros plus 3 million in variables for Todibo. They will get a response in the coming days. Barcelona are waiting to see how talks go with Juventus and Inter Milan first. Next week will be key for Todibo's future, whose continuity at Barcelona is impossible. And at this point, I think it's safe to say that Todibo is going to be sold this summer. The question is going to be, when is he going to be sold? And right now, there are many offers on the table who are very interested in this player. He could become one of the first transfers in FC Barcelona to leave this club. And what makes this transfer so appealing to FC Barcelona is that they are looking to see how much can we profit off this player. And right now, currently, Todibo is on the market for around 25 million euros. And Barcelona did buy this player last year for 1 million. And I can see why this club is so hesitant on letting this player go. But as good as this deal seems, and as badly as we do need this cash, it's going to be very disappointing to see Todibo leave this club. And I know that Todibo right now doesn't look like the most special defender out there, like a player who is currently playing world class, but he is more of a player where we can say this is the type of defender he can become in 5 to 6 years. And this is what makes it so disappointing. So if Barcelona is going to make this sale and take away Todibo from this club, Barcelona will need to make moves this summer. And what I mean by that is Barcelona will need to look for a defender. Like, yes, make the Lautaro Martinez operation like the first priority, but the second priority right next to that should be to look for a center back, because I just can't see Barcelona go into next season and have Piquet, who is 33 years old, turning 34 next year, and then have a player named Umtiti who is always injured and gets injured 3 times a year, and then have Araujo, who is very inexperienced and we don't know how he's going to be playing going forward. And the only player that's a safe bet on that back line is Lenglet, who is a very solid defender. I do expect big things from this player next season. I do actually expect him to have a greater role and have a greater say on how to organize that back line. But besides that, the question is, who's going to be that right-hand man next to Lenglet next season? And that is something that Barcelona is going to need to solve this summer. So as of now, for the Todibo operation, Barcelona are looking to include him in a operation with either Juventus or Inter Milan. But if nothing gets figured out, then Barcelona is going to turn their attention to Everton, who is currently offering 22 million euros plus 3 in variables. And so we will continue to follow up on Todibo and his transfer to see where he will end up next. There is offers from the German League, offers from the EPL, and there's even offers from the French League. Now I want to finish off with the last topic of the day, and we are going to talk about updates on La Liga. So it has been official that the Spanish government has given the green light for La Liga to resume from June 8th. So yes, it's true. The Spanish government is looking to restart La Liga on June 8th. And we must take note that this is not Tebas announcing this. This is the Spanish government saying this. Right now, what La Liga is trying to strategize is that they want to see all teams train together first as a collective for at least 2 weeks. Then they can have La Liga start. And what is the purpose of having everybody train first for the next 2 weeks? So basically, if you actually think about it, right now they're currently training with groups of 10 or 14 routine, right? But La Liga wants to see all the teams train as a collective, like how we used to have it back then. And if everything goes well, right, if no one gets sick or if no one gets like a fever or anything, then they will move on and continue to restart La Liga, because it would make no sense to train in a group of 10 and then go straight to a full match where everyone is going to be touching each other, bodying each other, being very physical. So they do want to take this very slowly and first start it with training as a collective. So as of now, we are waiting on Tebas, who is the president of La Liga, to announce all of this, because like I said before, this is the Spanish government giving the green light. Now it is up to La Liga to strategize how we are going to move forward onto that date. And we also have Bartomeu, who did visit the training ground earlier today, and I think that he was there only to explain, okay, this is what our plans are going to look like all the way until June 8th. You should also expect these announcements that Tebas will be announcing within the next 36 to 48 hours. And most importantly, I believe that Bartomeu was there in the training ground to just prepare these players and say, look, football is going to look very different. The way we are going to shake hands, I don't even think that's going to exist. We're going to have to wear masks before we get into the stadiums. And so Bartomeu does want to prepare these players. That is why he was there on the training ground, to inform them on what's going on. So that is it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.